Very good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Sarita, and as you all know, we are doing the play The Post Office by Rabindranath Tagore. In my previous video, I had told you something about the author and also about the play. In this video, we are going to do a plot summary. Probably we'll be able to complete Act 1 and 2, and we'll continue the third act in the next video. So let's begin the plot summary of Act 1. The Post Office, which is a 3-act play, begins with Madhav Datta speaking with the doctor about a young boy with a fever. The doctor says that the boy cannot go outside or he will get worse. The doctor quotes scripture and proverbs that support his recommended treatment. After he leaves, Tagore, a wanderer with whom Madhav is acquainted, comes in. Madhav tells Tagore that his wife has wanted to adopt a son, and now they have finally done so. The boy is an orphan who is distantly related to them, something of a nephew on his wife's side of the family. Madhav confides to Tagore that he did not want to adopt a son, lest the boy foolishly spend all the money Madhav has worked so hard to earn all of his life. Now, however, he loves the boy so much that he does not care. Madhav also makes Tagore promise not to allow the boy to play outside and not to excite him too much. Tagore agrees and promises to come back and only play quietly with the boy indoors. After Tagore leaves, the sick boy, who is named Amal, speaks with his uncle and adopted father, Madhav. Amal questions the doctor's orders, but Madhav says that the doctor knows best because he is well read and is an educated man. Amal concedes that he has not read anything and therefore must not know anything. Madhav then tells Amal that he can sit and read his whole life and become a pandit, that is a learned man who shapes public opinion because of his expertise. Amal scoffs at the suggestion because he does not want to sit still as he is being forced to do now. Instead, he wants to travel the world and see all there is to see. Madhav laughs at this and tells Amal that he has to go to work and makes the boy promise not to go outside while he is gone. Act 2. Here, in this act, you will see how Amal tries to reach out to the people who pass by in the street and tries to make friends with them and tries to make them a tool of seeing the world outside because he is confined in a room. Amal is a very small boy and he feels very sad that he is not able to see the outside world, and he talks to the curd seller and to the girl who passes by or to the watchman, and all this you will see in this play. Amal sits at the window when the curd seller passes by, singing out his wares. Amal beckons to him, that is, calls him. But then he says he has no money, and Amal does not want to buy dahi or curds. He wants to hear about the curd seller's village and to be taught the song that the man uses to sell his curds. He wants to learn how to sell curds when he grows up. He is yearning to go out somehow, grows up and walking around and singing like the curd seller. The curd seller tells the boy that he should become a pandit instead of selling curd. Amal says, I will never become a pandit because that will mean a confined life again. He wants to move around. Amal talks about how he feels exhilarated when he hears the curd seller's song. The curd seller is touched and he gives Amal some dahi without charging anything. He then continues on his way and Amal sings the dahi seller's song after he leaves. The watchman passes by and Amal calls him over. The watchman tells Amal that the boy should not yell or shout to him. He should be scared of him because he can arrest the boy and take him away. Rather than being scared by this, the thought itself of going away with the watchman excites Amal. The boy asks the watchman about his gong, that is, which is used to announce the time. From this conversation, the watchman makes a pun about the mortality, though Amal does not appear to understand it. If he does understand the joke, then his answer indicates that he wants to die in order to be free, because death will mean final freedom. Amal asks the watchman about the building across the street, which the watchman says is the new post office. The boy is entranced by the idea of becoming a mail carrier for the Raja, that is the local monarch or the ruler, traveling the world and delivering messages. The watchman sees the headman or the sarpanch, the local boss, coming their way, and he leaves before getting into trouble for stopping to chat. He promises to return the next day. As the headman or the sarpanch comes near, Amal talks to himself, imagining what it would be like to receive letters from the Raja. Amal cannot read, so he hopes his auntie will read the letters to him. Better yet, he will save them and read them once he is older and has learned to read himself. Amal then calls out to the headman. The boy asks the headman to tell the mail carriers his name and address in case the Raja sends him a letter. The headman, who is not very nice, teases Amal about being the Raja's friend. He says to himself that Madhav and his family have gone too far, pretending to be acquainted with royalty just because Madhav has been successful in business. He wants to be sure that they get their punishment for such audacity. The headman promises insincerely to speak with the Raja and have his letter delivered to Amal. In reality, he plans to speak to the Raja about Madhav's pretensions. After the headman goes, a girl walks by and Amal calls her over. She says her name is Shudha. She is on her way to pick flowers for her father, who sells the garlands she makes for them. Amal wishes he could go with her and says he would pick the best and hardest to reach flowers for her. Shudha says she would love to sit all day like Amal, but she must go before all the best flowers have been picked. Amal makes Shudha promise to return, and he asks her to bring him a flower, promising to pay her once he is grown up and has money of his own. Shudha agrees, swearing not to forget and saying, you will be remembered, Amal. Next, after that is first the seller, then Shudha, and now a group of village boys wander by. Amal asks where they are going and what they are going to play. The boys invite him to come along, but Amal tells them he is not allowed outside because he is ill. Instead, he says he will give the boys all of his toys as long as they promise to come and play outside of his window every morning. He asks them to send one of the mail carriers to him. The boys agree and continue on their way. That is, you can see how Amal is yearning to play with the boys, or to go along with Shudha to pick the flowers, or to sing the song of the dahi seller. He wants to go outdoors and enjoy himself like any other child. But it is very paradoxical, very sad that he has to remain confined in his room because of his sickness and fever, and he just sits at the window looking for someone to whom he can talk, converse, or entertain himself. Although it's early in the day, Amal already feels tired and the effects of his fever begin to show, and we will continue the story in the next act, that is Act 3. So just watch out for my next video. Thank you.